Happy Advent, everybody. Hope you're ready for the season. You can see I have my nativity set up here, my Christmas tree, my major decorations here in the office. Someone gave me a Advent calendar for cats yesterday, so there's a kitty treat for each day of Advent. Who would have thought of that? Well, anyway. So, for Thanksgiving in my homily, I talked about the difference between taking and receiving. And Advent is a season to receive. It's about receiving what God has given us. It's about waiting in expectation, in patient expectation for the work that God is doing in our midst, in us, in our world. To receive literally means to wait for. Patience means the same thing, to wait for, to be open to what God is doing. And the main characters that we have during Advent are all good receivers. John the Baptist is one of our preeminent prophets during this month. John the Baptist was about waiting for God's call and then responding fully and wholeheartedly to that. Mary, the one who received Jesus directly inside of her in the Annunciation, and Joseph, both were, I guess we could say, masters at that kind of receptivity of that waiting. And you and I are called as well to be people who receive well, who don't just try to grab everything on the surface, but who look more deeply inside and take that time for reflection, for inner listening. And I think all of this leads us to a couple of key words: a greater surrender to God, a greater trust that God is working in our lives and in our world, and that He's bringing about His plan always. There's a book that touched me deeply along the years. I've reread a number of times. It's called Abandonment to Divine Providence by Pierre de Caussade. And in there, he just speaks about the fact that each moment, each gift is from God. And whatever we are receiving in that is meant to be from God. And sometimes we judge so many things as not worthy of being from God, or somehow we just got to get through this, get over this. And yet everything is charged with the presence of God, and we're willing to receive from Him and in Him the fullness that's there. So that's what I'd like to leave you with for this Advent season, a season of waiting, of patience, of receiving, which draws us to greater surrender, greater abandonment in absolute trust that God's with us, that He's doing His good work, that He will bring about His plan always. There's a song that was part of morning prayer this morning in the Liturgy of the Hours. It says, "Dawn is always drawing nearer, dawn that brings us all that we seek." That's what we yearn for. That's what we surrender into, allowing God to do His work. God bless you for a rich, meaningful, fruitful Advent.